Hello everyone and welcome back to the second game of the day on Court B in the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship, a fixture that will be contested between Leeds Dynamos and West Bromwich Albion Baggies. My name is Ryan Sipple. I am delighted to be joined on commentary for the first time this season with 24-25 Championship winner Rikin Shah. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks Ryan. How are you?
Very well, very well. Looking forward to this weekend. Already had a great game of football and hoping that theme continues. Let's quickly go through the squad before we bring you the action live here from the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, starting with Leeds Dynamos. They are comprised of number 4, Seb Copeland, number 16, Jack McNaughton, number 20, Reece Stewart, number 28, Liam Chadwick, number 34, Jack Humphreys, number 44, Harrison Taylor, and number 66, Hayden Lambert. Their coach is Lewis Harris, and West Bromwich Albion Baggies under a new name, formerly known as Dudley. They have number 1, Amy Sherman, number 7, Noah Stevenson-Lee, number 8, Lewis Marshall, number 11, Jack Gorder, number 12, Sam Swingler, number 28, Noah Harvey, and number 33, Jack Westmoreland. We just observed a beautiful 1-minute applause for Jack Britton. Fantastic player, a fantastic person who sadly passed away a few months ago. He was competing with Leeds PFC and Leeds Dynamos last season. Paul Yates is in the centre, ready to kick things off. Give me your prediction for this one, Rikin.
I think it's always a cagey first game, isn't it? The first game of the season. You know, you see Baggies have changed their team quite a bit from last season. I'm going to go with the Leeds win. I think it's going to be about 2-1. Yeah,
having sat down to predict this upcoming season, to talk about individual performers and teams, it was really hard for me to separate these two. And at the conclusion of that podcast episode, we predicted where we thought each of the teams would finish, and I had these just a position apart. I had Leeds Dynamos finishing 5th, West Bromwich Albion Baggies finishing 6th. So yeah, very close. As you've said, some new signings, fresh look and name for Baggies. Noah Stevenson-Lee is a player many are excited to see in this division. Sam Swingler as well. And when you're referencing Leeds Dynamos, the acquisition of Harrison Taylor from their Premiership side, Leeds PFC, will inject so much quality and precision on their wing. Just to go through the squads in their entirety, Leeds Dynamos have Jack Humphreys as the designated goalkeeper, Liam Chadwick, Hayden Lambert, and Harrison Taylor. And that's really nice football early on. It's Hayden Lambert across the box, blocked by Noah Stevenson-Lee, already thrusted into that central role. Baggies in their entirety, Amy Sherman, Noah Stevenson-Lee, Jack Gorder, and Lewis Marshall.
He's held his own in the middle for the first 2 minutes, Stevenson-Lee. He's doing very well.
It's a big ask, isn't it, to expect someone of his age and inexperience to come in and seamlessly slot in, but positive signs in the opening few minutes here. Doesn't look overawed against one of the Championship's top central players in Liam Chadwick.
I had the fortunate of playing against Baggies' new signing Sam Swindler in the WFA Cup a few seasons ago. He was a good player. like to see how well he does this season in the National League.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how players make that transition up from regional leagues or WFA Cup competitions. But it speaks volumes as to the development of those respective competitions when the likes of Noah Stevenson-Lee can just come and slot in seamlessly. And that was a real opportunity that for Baggies. They're adopting a high press. They're condensing the space in that final third, and that attempted clearance from Jack Humphreys met the front bumper of Lewis Marshall. Had Jack Gorder been slightly more advanced, he could have been positioned to capitalise.
It's a nice pick off there.
That's something I'll be watching with Noah Stevenson-Lee, is that 2-on-1 discipline, that position with those wingers. On a few occasions when they've been in that final third, there has been small gaps between himself and Lewis Marshall and Jack Gorder. It goes to Gorder, attempts an effort. This is bright stuff from Baggies, who have started the season really well.
Yeah, Stevenson-Lee, his distribution to these wingers is quite amazing, considering how young he is.
Yeah, I agree. Jack Gorder to take.
Are they going to try and find him on the back post, do you reckon?
It looks as if that's the case. He's acting as the dummy over the line. Fantastic football. You called it, Rickin. And marking his National League debut. Noah Stevenson-Lee makes it 1.
That would do him the world of confidence with that first goal. To open your mark 5 minutes into your debut. Can't ask for more.
No, I agree completely. Stevenson-Lee. Just a bit of contact off the ball between Lewis Marshall and Harrison Taylor. Marshall deemed the aggressor. Goes as far as Taylor into Amy Sherman, called into defensive duties for the first time this fixture.
I'd like to see Taylor take that in reverse, play that ball in reverse, play it across the box.
Marshall into Liam Chadwick, just a little bit too much power on that. Harrison Taylor not necessarily set. There's a real art in ensuring good weight on your passes. People tend to assume that lots of power is the best option possible, but that's often not the case. Taking power off is just as much of a skill as clean, crisp connection, as now Dynamos look to adopt a high press, and Hayden Lambert just unfortunate in missing that rotated connection. Currently live on Court A, Manchester United a goal to the good against Manchester City, and all Manchester derby to kick off their 25-26 campaign here on Court B. Baggies looking to put a real statement of intent out against a very close competitor in Leeds Dynamos. Already Noah Stevenson-Lee imparting his influence, restricting Liam Chadwick from getting up the court. Short predictions for this championship season then, Rickin? Having been someone who fought to the very end, secured a fantastic championship title for Muscle Warriors, and will now be playing your football in the Premiership. What does it take to win this? Who do you think will go that step?
I think for me it's Teesside still. You know, they played absolutely fantastic football last season. it was the amount of draws that they got which let them down. Had they converted 2 or 3 of those draws into wins, they would have, you know, maybe won the title or got an automatic promotion place. They only lost 1 game last season.
It was, yeah, and that was in the first weekend, wasn't it? I think beyond that, I think they went on a 19 game unbeaten streak, which is remarkable when you think about it. They only fell short in the playoffs against West Bromwich Albion Throttles, and they were in no way second in that. They gave as good as they got. It was just 1 breakaway goal which saw Throttles maintain their Premiership status, so they all feel there's almost an injustice with them being and competing in the Championship this season, and how that manifests in terms of their performances we will see. But yeah, I agree. I have them as the champions. I think the addition of Owen Swift is the final piece of the jigsaw, and they have momentum on their side, but they need to ensure the same levels of quality they had across last season, with the division stacked from top to bottom. As Noah Stevenson-Lee just restricting the passing lanes as Hayden Lambert slightly forced that at goal, finds its way out to Harrison Taylor into the box. This is fairly end-to-end stuff as Liam Chadwick strikes the ball so cleanly.
I thought there was a 2-on-1 there when Chadwick played the ball to Taylor.
Yeah, it did get very condensed.
It's been a busy summer for you, Ryan, with all the football going on.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Rickin. It's just all blurred into one. I mean, we had the conclusion of the 24-25 season, the end of season awards, the playoffs. It then rolled into the Club World Cup. We had the FA Disability Cup out back to St George's Park for the England USA camp and fixtures. That was historic. And then, yeah, last week the EPFA Nations Cup. So lots of football. I haven't had a holiday this summer, but it's been incredible to see the development of the sport both in this country and across the continent.
Yeah, I watched quite a bit of the Nations Cup. I was very impressed with Italy.
Harrison Taylor at the back post equalises brilliantly. I highlighted him as someone to keep an eye out for, a Premiership proven player dropping down into the Championship to get minutes, and on his debut gets the goal to put Leeds Dynamos back into this. We've had 11 minutes. It's Leeds Dynamos 1, West Bromwich Albion Baggies 1. Yeah, but back to your point, the Nations Cup was fantastic. The quality, the development shown by some of the lesser nations, the newer nations, was so encouraging, and it only bodes well for the future. Europe really are the benchmark for World Powerchair Football, and attention turns to the APO Cup, the Asia Oceania qualifier happening next week, and then beyond that the America's Cup. But we're building for Buenos Aires, but don't disregard the National League season that we have here. So exciting. This has turned out to be a really good game, an opener for these respective sides. Baggies started the brighter, but since that, you'd probably say Leeds Dynamos starting to get their positional play more organised, and it's been a strap that's just fired off one of the chairs. Play does continue. Noah Stevenson-Lee advances up the court. You excited for the Premiership this season?
I am looking forward to it. But have you seen our first 4 games of the season?
It's incredibly daunting, isn't it? I think you've got Aspire to open.
Aspire to open.
Newcastle, West Brom.
And Leeds.
Wow. Four potential title contenders, maybe Newcastle are just out that conversation now with some recent departures, but take nothing away from their quality. But it'll be a real experience for you. And as is typically the case, teams that are promoted up through the Championship, they will always be considered as almost favourites for relegation. You have to go in with an underdog mentality and pick up points if and where you can. It may not come in game week 1, but there will be opportunities across the entirety of the season to ensure you're on the board. This is a good opportunity for Dynamos. It's an indirect free kick, so it has to go via the chair of an opponent or teammate from Liam Chadwick. The only real option, he actually has no options now because of the width of the wingers. So they just come to show a little bit shorter. It looks as if Jack Humphreys is the target, maybe into Harrison Taylor. Nice little bit of deception from Liam Chadwick. Feinted to pass one way, but guided it out to the goal scorer on the other. Either way, good defence from Noah Stevenson-Lee, who's settled into National League football seamlessly.
Yeah, he's done very well. Very impressed. I think whoever gets the next goal will need to work on their defensive play. Keep the ball tight in between players and just work the clock down.
Yeah, Leeds Dynamos have really settled in this one. So based on current momentum, you would say that they're more likely to go a goal to the good in the 6 minutes we have of this first half, but don't discount a potential breakaway as it goes to Jack Humphreys, quickly closed down by Lewis Marshall. He's done that brilliantly, engaging that press and kick-starting it. Always ask questions of Jack Humphreys. It's clear that they're playing a very fluid system and pivot.
That's a great ball. That was lovely football there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. It was the initial pick-off from Noah Stevenson-Lee out to Jack Gorder, that diagonal splitting pass, and it was nice contact from Lewis Marshall. It was just equally good as defence from Leeds Dynamos as they observe a few change, both sides for that matter. Jack McNaughton on in place of Hayden Lambert, and Jack Westmoreland on in place of the Baggies goal scorer Noah Stevenson-Lee. So he will now take position in the centre, something that he almost made his own in the 24-25 season. Into Jack Gorder, strikes an effort at goal, saved by Liam Chadwick. Lewis Marshall just a second or two late in reacting to that. Needed a better angle to position with initially, as Harrison Taylor flicked into the path of Liam Chadwick, just forces it into Amy Sherman. It's a really cute pass from Liam Chadwick out to Harrison Taylor into the 180 on the edge again. 180 strike. That is a beautiful goal. It was scripted, it was telegraphed, but there is nothing the Baggies defence could have done to restrict it. Fantastic goal.
You saw that coming from a mile off, didn't you, as soon as he brought the ball down into this corner?
Yeah, we're in a really favourable angle, aren't we? And it was the only way that the ball was going to be engaged. Yet there was nothing that Amy Sherman and co could have done. And they've done really well to reverse this scoreline. It's Leeds Dynamos 2, West Bromwich Albion Baggies 1. 3.5 minutes left of this first half. That's something that Liam Chadwick always looks to facilitate, is the ball behind him to engage in the 180. Sometimes it can become a little bit predictable, a little bit readable, but when it comes off, the catalogue of goals Chadwick has is so impressive.
Yeah, he's always been a tough player to play against. We definitely didn't like playing against Leeds last year because we knew how tough it would be. And it was always a good battle.
Baggies do have bragging rights over Leeds Dynamos. They of course met twice last season. The first outing saw Baggies, or then Dudley, secure a 2-1 win, and then latterly in the season, game week 5 was a stalemate 1-1. Liam Chadwick was the single goal scorer for Dynamos then, so he knows how to break this defence down. Marshall.
Can we find it back to Westmoreland?
Yeah, well read by Harrison Taylor, but then it was very predictable. Almost needs Jack Westmoreland to drop off a little bit more to find that channel out to Jack Gorder. Their chemistry in 23-24 was incredible. Obviously, since that, Jack Gorder has undergone surgery, is looking to refine his confidence and his composure. It's going to be a big season for him. Very excited for the prospects of his 25-26 season. And if he can re-establish that chemistry and connection with whatever central player Baggies opt to choose, whether it's Jack Westmoreland or Noah Stevenson-Lee, this is going to be a very exciting side, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're challenging towards the top. The exact same can be said for Leeds Dynamos. Consistency has always been the thing that's typically let them down. If they can ensure a bit more of that across 25-26, there's no reason why they can't be in the conversation for a title race. Speaking from your experience, Rickin, no one prior to last season starting would have had Muscle Warriors as title contenders.
Our aim was never to win the title in the first place. It was just about trying to see if we could get promotion. You know, we had big departures that summer. We brought in some young talent in George and Stanley. And yeah, we had a great first weekend, and then we just built from there.
And that's what these sorts of sides can look to emulate, defy odds and expectations, and just pick up pace. And already I'm seeing real positives in this Dynamo side as Liam Chadwick follows up that ricochet off of Amy Sherman. They've had very little in way of attack since their opener, Baggies, and now the dead ball specialist that is Jack McNaughton just over this ball. Hope he's into the box. Liam Chadwick strikes it.
That's a great goal.
It's a fantastic goal at that. Almost a little bit too easy. I think the Baggies defence will be disappointed, but take nothing away from the finish. Liam Chadwick absolutely storming out in the 25-26 season. It's Leeds Dynamos 3, West Bromwich Albion Baggies 1.
It's definitely been a great first half for Leeds. I think they'll be the happier of the two, obviously. Yeah, and hope, you never know, they might continue their good form, see if they can get any more goals.
Yeah, completely. Let's not forget that they did go a goal down in the early instances, and to reverse the scoreline and go into the break with a 2-goal buffer shows that they're settling. And you have to say that it will need a real shift and tactical switch up from Baggies if they're to get back into this in the second. Thank you to all that are tuning in. Myself, Ryan Sipple and Rick and Charles will be back very shortly. Hello everyone and welcome back to what will soon be the second half in this fixture between Leeds Dynamos and West Bromwich Albion Baggies. Game week 1 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship. A game in which Leeds Dynamos went a goal down. Baggies looked to assert themselves early on, but following that it was almost a Liam Chadwick show. 1 assist and 2 goals. Saw them completely reverse the scoreline in their favour, and now Baggies have a real tall ask to get back into this. They look as if they've switched things up a significant amount at that break, so their coach is obviously acknowledging that it didn't work. Thumbs up from the keepers. I'll go through them changes in just a second, but now early pressure. So Leeds Dynamos, they have Jack Humphreys, Liam Chadwick, Jack McNaughton and Harrison Taylor, and Baggies, who have altered, now put Lewis Marshall between the sticks. Jack Westmoreland maintains his position in the centre, but now they've opted for a winger pairing of their new signing, Sam Swingler and Noah Harvey. So really intrigued to see how these two can impart their quality. Never seen Sam Swingler before. You said in the first half that you'd played against him before, right, Ricken?
Yeah, so we played against him in the WFA Cup when he was at Northampton, and he was predominantly the centre player there, so there was a lot of battles between myself and him.
Yep.
And we were considering whether to contact him last season, whether to join us or not, but we thought that he wasn't quite ready then, but I think he's probably ready now. So yeah, I expect big things from him today.
No, really excited, and I love it when a regional league prospect comes through the ranks and catches the eye, certainly with a team like Northampton, who have only been a developed club for the last maybe 2 years. So the fact that they're producing talent that's National League quality already is really encouraging, as they're looking to inflict further damage. Dynamos, and Sam Swingler can't quite get the angle on that crossfield ball. You can see the intent. Chadwick. Those diagonal, if I'm being critical, those diagonal passes from Liam Chadwick haven't necessarily come off in this game. Not quite got the angles to find the likes of Jack McNaughton and Harrison Taylor. When it comes to ball striking towards goal and those front bumper passes, he's been fairly supreme, but a little bit of contact. Sam Swingler apologises to Jack McNaughton.
I thought it was the other way.
He doesn't need to apologise there. The admission of guilt completely decided it for Paul Yates, and more experienced Championship players would almost appeal for that. So he needs more of a poker face.
100% right, and I'll be saying that's my ball every day of the week.
Some of them are so close, and there's such fine lines between aggression and kind of defence. So yeah, don't apologise there. Just battle for the balls, appeal for everything. Be horrible for the opposition to deal with. Jack Westmoreland looks to create some space, but a near impossible task of bypassing Liam Chadwick. Lewis Marshall now tested between the sticks. Not often that I've seen him feature as the most defensive of the 4 players, so no doubt Baggies have been trialling and testing in the off-season. It's something that I asked a question of, as they've just completely been picked apart there. I was going to go on to talk about the organisation and finding the formula that sees them go on to really succeed in games, but the inexperience shown there was really disappointing. I don't think Leeds Dynamos will score an easier goal all season, maybe. It is Leeds Dynamos 4, West Bromwich Albion Baggies 1.
Yeah, Chadwick's had a really good game today. He's got 2 goals and an assist. You know, I think his form is good, considering the long summer that we've had.
He's always been a leading player in the division. Of that, I have no doubt. It's just the consistency. And Leeds Dynamo's performances typically hinge on whether Liam Chadwick plays well or not. And if Liam can produce these levels game after game, week in, week out, there is absolutely no question that Dynamos will be a contender come season's end. Dynamos just taking off that goal scorer, Jack McNaughton, a bright cameo for him, a goal and an assist. Back comes on Hayden Lambert. But what do you do if you are West Bromwich Albion Baggies here? You cannot really afford to experiment and trial things in games such as this, because what is currently a 3-goal buffer to Dynamos could be a significant amount more, and we know how important goal difference can be in the entirety of the season. That's really clean contact from Sam Swingler. Fantastic opportunity. That's much better from Baggies. I know it's almost strange to be talking about goal difference when this is their first game of the season, but before you know it, the season will be over and we will be looking at the wins columns, the draws, the losses, the points, and then the goal difference.
Yeah, goal difference last season was a massive factor. You know, GBG Knights having that 70+ goal difference.
And that's exactly what I was going to go on to say, that had certain results gone in GBG Knights' favour, you would have almost been locked on the exact same number of points come season's end, and due to their far superior goal difference, they would have been crowned champions.
Yeah, I think it always hurts when it comes down to goal difference, because you've been level the entire season, but someone's obviously got to win and someone's obviously got to lose, because that's why we play sport.
Things with Liam Chadwick, there is always that eagerness to strike it as hard as you can, always typically with the 180, and that isn't always the best choice. Sometimes you have to exhibit a little bit of control and patience, something that I'd look for in Liam's game. Again, Sam Swingler very animated in terms of his expressions. Certainly advice that I would give to him. Try not to give too much away unless you're appealing for stuff in your favour.
Yeah, definitely do not apologise whilst you're on that pitch. It's something that Alan Murray definitely instills into us. Appeal for everything. Don't apologise for anything, and then we can all be friends once the game's over.
Exactly that. This is elite sport, and any small signs of weakness or lapses in confidence will be capitalised on. .28.5 minutes played. Leeds Dynamos completely commanding this game and scoreline 4-1. No doubt Chadwick will be looking for that hat-trick. It's Lewis Marshall now out to see it out of danger. I think it will take probably several game weeks for Baggies to find their best system. It's something they just didn't do last. It's a really good ricochet off of Jack Westmoreland. And they are back into this. They have reduced the deficit to just 2. As Jack Westmoreland does the Cole Palmer celebration, something I challenged him to do if and when he scored. Is that what they need to spearhead something of a comeback?
Is a comeback on, Ryan?
I mean, we have got 10 minutes left and there is still 2 goals in it, and we're seeing Leeds Dynamos go straight back on the attack to assert themselves. But if Baggies can get one more, this could be a really nervy finish for Dynamos. It's Marshall into Swingler, just slightly too deep. So was playing catch up. That positional play and that tactical awareness is something that will come. Nothing that regional league football can prepare you for is the level of intensity in the Championship and then a step further the Premiership. But I like the fact that he stays in reverse on the wing. Hayden Lambert, maybe a chance to capitalise. Again, that starting position doesn't afford him an angle to strike the ball maybe as cleanly as he needs. I'd almost want him to go a little bit wider, hug that touchline, as it looks as if he's going to be brought off. A bright cameo for Sam Swingler. On comes the opening scorer, Noah Stevenson-Lee, now in a wide position. So we saw his quality in the centre. Now what can he do out wide? He's going to need that connection with Jack Westmoreland.
I'd like to have seen both of them two play together on each wing with Westmoreland in the centre.
I don't know if classification would allow. I'd have to look at their classification status, because I think they're both PF2s. Assuming that they stick with Jack Westmoreland and Lewis Marshall as the central pair, that is. Noah Harvey too close to Jack Westmoreland there. Advantage played to Dynamos. But for that, you have to give credit to Leeds Dynamos, because they kind of constricted the space. Could have easily been a 2-1 in the other way had Baggies got more of a foothold of possession. Seb Copeland coming on to feature. Maybe just the experience to see out this game. But a bright game for Harrison Taylor. Be a big season for him.
I think Jack Humphreys just told Liam Chadwick to keep calm, keep the ball tight, and try and see this out as a win.
It's a tough opening weekend for Leeds Dynamo, so if they can get 3 points here, it will take less pressure, a little bit of pressure off the other results. They follow up with a game against Manchester United at 1. That'll be a great one. Tomorrow they play Manchester City before title contenders Teesside Steel. So they'll want points here. When you're looking at Baggies, they play Hull and East Yorkshire next, and they face Villa, Rockets, Lions and Nottinghamshire tomorrow. And just when I look at it, there is literally no easy games. There is no guaranteed 3 points. So I can't even say on paper this game looks more favourable than that in order of accumulating points, as Jack Humphreys now supporting, trying to put a bit of confusion in the ranks. Not quite sure what the aim was there.
looks like they're trying to play the 4-out system.
Chadwick. Yeah, I know it's something that they've worked on in terms of utilising Jack Humphreys in that attack. And you have to say the early signs are really promising. The more games that they have to settle into a groove, the more dangerous they will be. Noah Harvey. Trapped in this corner. That's strong play from Liam Chadwick. Looks such a horrible player to play against. The ball just trapped to the back wheel of Jack Westmoreland, so can't quite get the angle. And again, that disciplined 2-on-1 is letting them down a little bit. That probably needs Noah Stevenson-Lee to drop off. I know it would have left a potential loose ball on for Liam Chadwick, but until the central player and the winger have that understanding, that's always the high prevalence is going to be there. As we are now into the final 5 minutes.
Are they trying it again?
Certainly has worked in this game thus far. Needs that initial delivery. Seb Copeland just closed down by Lewis Marshall, and then the back post was covered by Jack Westmoreland into Chadwick.
I reckon they should go back to Jack Humphreys here and then across.
Yeah, they have done that, but it didn't necessarily have the initial accuracy, but they're creating the angles and the passing patterns to really stretch this Baggies defence. Hayden Lambert with the gauges in the 180. The gap necessarily there, it was always going to ricochet out, but does well to adjust his chair just to ensure that Dynamos come away with the set piece. A scoreline that looks favourable to Dynamos, but better from Baggies in this second half. Lambert, good pick off. I think Noah Harvey just needs to try and take that in his stride down the court. I don't know if the ball had the momentum or not, but it's disappointing. If he knows he can't engage it, doesn't have the power and the pace to roll far down the court, he needs to just use the ball's momentum in his favour, let it roll as far as it can, then try and facilitate an angle to cross the ball across the court.
Three in the box there from Baggies.
Chadwick into Jack Humphreys. Very condensed attack now. Noah Harvey, again, not necessarily set to engage it. Noah Stevenson-Lee was set away on that alternate wing. Again, I go back to those diagonal passes from Liam Chadwick as an area where he can improve. There's a late change for Baggies. Sees Jack Gorder come on in place of Noah Stevenson-Lee. Just couldn't really get involved in his second spell, Noah Stevenson-Lee. But for that, I think all credit is owed to Leeds Dynamos and their organisation. Just looking to drown their opposition with this almost 4-out approach. Final minute, Rickin. Player of the match, please.
With 2 goals and an assist, for me it's Liam Chadwick. He's definitely been the game changer when Leeds went 1-0 down. So yeah.
Again, I don't understand the decision of Noah Harvey there to change the arc of his advancement to drive onto it. I don't know if he would have caught up to it, but just occasions like that, I want to see players like him staying in reverse. The amount of momentum and speed you lose from turning 180 and then driving forward can often be a decisive action as we now tick over into additional time. Yeah, I agree with your assessment. Liam Chadwick stayed calm, composed following that early Baggies goal, and since then just pulled the strings, dictated the attacks, and 2 goals and an assist. Could have been far more, but a really bright opener for Dynamos. And Baggies, there is positives, there's no question about that. Bright cameos from Sam Swingler and Noah Stevenson-Lee, something to build on ahead of a long, gruelling season. A goal now would be nothing more than a consolation as Jack Westmoreland into the centre, closed by Jack Gorder.
I don't think Baggies should be too disheartened by this result. The scoreline's finished 4-2, but there's lots of positives, like you said. They're a new team, they're building, and things will get better.
Yeah, I completely agree. Fantastic win for Leeds Dynamos. Commiserations to West Bromwich Albion Baggies, but they both have some really important fixtures left to contest in game week 1 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship. Next up on Court B, myself and Ricken will be calling the action of Nottingham Forest and Teesside Steel. See you then.